You are listening to Eastman's Flycast, an adventure fly fishing specific podcast covering travel, tactics, and next level insight. Now your host, Brian Barney.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Got a brand new Eastman's Flycast for you. So on today's episode, I connect with my buddy Dillon. We get talking. I'm just getting back from the flats, which I'm all fired up about. So we talk about that experience down there and kind of the do-it-yourself opportunities to be able to go rent a house and be able to wade those flats and look for those fish and play those tides and sight fish them and kind of the excitement of it. So we talk about that, and then Dylan's been fishing a bit in some tailwaters, and we're planning to go here the next couple days. So we kind of chat about our plans and our tactics we're going to use, and it's just a great conversation. It's authentic, and we get talking fishing. We're both fired up. I really enjoyed it, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it too. Thanks to Eastmans for their support of this podcast. Also, thanks to our sponsors for sponsoring the podcast. We really appreciate the support. And thanks to you guys for downloading this podcast, listening to it here every couple weeks. I sure appreciate the support, and glad you guys enjoy it. So if you want to help out the podcast, you can always share it on social media, leave positive reviews on iTunes and things, and really just downloading the podcast and subscribing to the podcast really helps out. So appreciate the support, guys. Enjoy the episode. Hey, Dylan, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, dude. You made her back to the nice snowy cold winter, huh?
Oh, man, it's tough to come back to the cold, that's for sure. I could get used to that.
I bet. How was it?
Dude, it was so sick. So it was Bahamas, which are all flats. And Bahamas, I just went for a learning trip, but this is something I've wanted to do my whole life. So, went there, took the family there. We rented this sick house that sat on the beach, but Holly didn't want to go to some remote island out there because there's these islands with just, it's like wildernesses out there of flats and mangrove swamps and stuff. So we went to the more popular island. It's got like a population of 250,000 people. It's Nassau's the town, and Providence is the island. And so there was some stuff for the girls to do. We got a nice house there, and I figured, well, there's some flats around. I'll just go explore those. And so, yeah, I found some flats out there that are just like wilderness oases out there that you go walk these flats. And, dude, it's like a mile out and crystal clear water. And you can walk all the way out a mile out into the ocean. And then it's like these huge flats that then come into these mangroves. And, dude, it's wild. You're like playing the tides, and so like high tide comes in and the bonefish come in the high tides and they come hunt like crabs and shrimp and shit like inside like against the mangroves and up in that high water. And then as it starts retreating, it goes all the way down to just dirt, to sand, and so like it goes to nothing, and so the bonefish have to escape out and they go back out to the deep water. And it's crystal clear, like different bottoms from grass to mangroves to white sand. And basically you walk around and you look to sight fish for these things. And I saw tarpon, I saw bonefish. Now they're tough, dude. I wasn't on the best island. If we go to Andros and I take you over there, dude, it's like a wilderness oasis. It's 3 times as big as this island, and it's surrounded by good flats that have bonefish all over them. Now, my spots were a little bit tougher, but, I was seeing fish every day and getting throws at fish. And so, you walk around and you just walk these flats, trying to look into the water. And if the sun's really high, that's good. You can see down in it. When it's low, mornings and evenings, you can't see into the water that good. And I've hunted the flats once before in Key West for a couple days for tarpon, and I caught a barracuda out there. But this was cool because it's no guides. Figure it out on your own. Try to find the flats, and then find the right flats and the right features, and then you just start walking around, man, and you just start glassing into this stuff. And when you see them, you see a wolf pack of them, right? And you get one throw at them, or they may be just circling around feeding, but you kind of stalk up, and then you got to throw these casts. And I forgot from the last time on the flats, dude, you got to be so good at double hauling. Like, you got to be able to double haul to your toes. like when you double haul, like you throw all the way down when on your back cast and all the way down on your front cast, and your casting just has to be so pro. You're in the wind, but you got to lay that cast, and they're always like just as far as you can cast. It seems like sometimes you get them in close, and then you got to make a toss and try to make it by them and in front of them, and then start stripping in. And then, dude, when you get their attention and they start following it and they're chasing and coming and coming and coming, and then all of a sudden they eat it, and just the hardest like ocean fish, unreal. Like probably 3 to 7 pound bones, but when you hook one, dude, you see your backing, like the thing tries to head back to the ocean. Dude, I couldn't slow the freaking thing down. Like the one was just an absolute freight train where I only had like about 12 rotations left on my backing by the time it got done with its run.
Smokes.
And then, started bringing in and then fought him in and able to land him or whatever. But it was tough and humbling, but also, dude, just so fun.
Oh, so rewarding. Yeah, that picture, that one you sent looked like a good one. I don't know what a big bonefish is, but that looked like a great one. So you're walking out a mile out into these flats?
Yeah. During low tide, yeah. During high tide, they're pushed up against the banks and the mangroves and just like the wilderness of the Bahamas. Like it's absolute jungle. Sometimes like I had this one spot that I had to go through a bunch of mangroves and find the right trail, or you can't make it through the thick. But yeah, during high tide, they're up in the mangroves and stuff, but you're walking the flats just off them, looking into the mangroves and into that flat right there close to you because they come in to feed. But then during low tide, they're all the way out next to the deep water out there. And yeah, dude, it's a mile out. It's flats. It's like you just walk out there everywhere. And so, dude, you walk double-digit miles a day. And like, I'm used to walking. I'm in great shape. I'm like, yeah, let's let it rip. And I could go do it in the mornings and then come back and hang out with the family and just sneak time here and there. But like walking that stuff, dude, it wears you out so bad because you have the resistance of the water that I'm not used to hiking in. It's almost like hiking in snow that's like thigh deep or something because you're constantly kicking the water. So your low back at the end of the day is just so sore, and you start to get used to it. It wasn't that bad. It was like great walking around out there, but it does get to you. Like it does wear on you out there.
Oh, that's so cool. So that's about how deep the water is, about thigh deep?
Just depends. Like they can be in any water. Like the shallower the better. I mean, they can be sitting in 6 inches of water, or they can be sitting in 3 feet of water. But yeah, usually the wading depth that you're wading is probably like mid calf to mid thigh, or even close to waistline at times. But I'd say probably mid thigh is about as high as you're looking in there.
Huh, that's way cool. What was like a go-to setup, or what was the setup in general?
Yeah, so got a 7-weight rod, got a new 7-weight, which is killer, like kind of for the trip or whatever, but I'll use it as a streamer rod, and then bonefish line, which is pretty much a floating line, like a heavy head on the front of it so you can toss it, and then like about a 10-foot leader, and I ran half in like I've got really strong like this it's called a P-line Halo. It comes in the green.
Yeah.
Stuff is so strong, and it never line rots. It's just like crazy strong. And so I ran 10-pound or 12-pound for the first 4 feet or 5 feet, and then the next 5 feet I ran 8-pound P-line to it, which it's a little bit thicker than tippet, but stuff is just so strong and crystal clear. And so ran about a 10-foot leader, and then dude, I found a hot fly where I was catching, like, the smaller fish were chasing it. Like, every fish in the ocean wanted it. And I did throw it some bones and didn't get them, but, and I hooked one that was like a barracuda or a tarpon in there, that snapped me off. I think snapped me on his tooth. Just broke in the weirdest spot, dude. Like, how with our streamers we'll tie that loop knot instead of the improved clinch, and that loop knot, you tie a square knot and then run down through the eye, back through the square knot, 5-6 twists, back through the knot, pull it tight. That knot is so bomb proof, right? And it broke the line halfway through the knot, and I had changed my leader that morning.
No way.
Yeah, so dude, it had to be like it came tight on the strip out of the mangroves in and through there, and it was one of those days where it was overcast lighting where I couldn't see a bunch, so I was walking the edges of the mangroves, just throwing in there close to the mangroves and stripping back. Dude, like you're in the Bahamas. We're so used to Montana. It's 80 degrees. You're wet wading everywhere, walking miles of ocean, and you're looking for these fish that fight so hard. But that day, just throwing into the mangroves, and man, I came tight on something so heavy that just felt like it was either, I mean, it could have been a bone, but bone really don't have teeth or anything, and it could have just snapped. I mean, but I think it was I'd seen 2 tarpon in that area and threw at them like a couple days earlier, and so I'm almost thinking it was like a tarpon sitting on that edge.
Huh. That's way cool. What was the take like those bones? What's the take like when they eat it?
Oh, it's man, I mean they just hammer it. Like you're stripping and can see them, and all of a sudden you go tight and they realize that you're tight and they're just gone. Like I didn't quite have my drag set right. Like when I hooked one, where it's like you just start fishing and it's like, trout, it's they may go on a run and pull some out, and it's, dude, this thing like hooked it, and dude, it started spinning lines so fast off my reel that I thought it was gonna loop around and catch my seat. Like it's just gone, and I just like trying to slow it down, palming the reel, and just on that 8-pound test, dude, everything I had, you just not turning them around. They just go on epic runs.
No way.
Yeah,
Like how big was that one that you sent me?
dude, it's
Like
like a
what
5-pounder, I think, like
that's what I
probably
thought.
like
Okay.
24, 25, something like that, like, but so thick on the back and
Yeah.
forked tail and just built for power, dude. Just remind,
Oh.
like ocean fish are just like I don't know, hard fighting brown, hard fighting rainbow, they fight so good, but I don't know, those ocean fish, man, they just go for it, he was just gone out of that stuff. But yeah, super cool, hard fighting.
Huh, way cool. Did you get to throw at any of those tarpon that you saw? Like the actual like visually throw to them?
Yep, I threw to 2 that I found out, and like usually tarpon like a little bit bigger fly, like a little bit different presentation, and I've got that 7 weight. Like you should be fishing something heavier for tarpon. Now these ones weren't like the 100-pound model, like they were probably like 20, 30-pound models, something like that. But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bright silver, just like killer looking fish. And so yeah, I got to throw at them. I saw them and got to throw at them and got to get my fly in front of him and no interest. Like I got a good strip by him, stalked up to him, could see him out there, and got like probably like 2 or 3 casts by him and just
Yeah.
weren't interested. And I was like, man, I got a tarpon fly in here. Like I just need to change it up, But it's like you take your eyes off them for a second and they're gone. You're looking for, like, you don't really see the fish. You see like dark shadows that almost look like rocks, and then all of a sudden they're moving. Like
Yeah.
you really look for the movement. They're just like dark shapes and shadows down there, But they were definitely 2 tarpon that were running together, and yeah, I got to throw at them a couple times. They just had no interest in my fly.
Too cool. That's so sick. Yeah. Gotta go do that together. That would be so much fun. God, that just gets me so juiced up just listening to it.
Oh, dude, it's action packed. Like when you run into a wolf pack of bones, and dude, you've been walking a couple miles, like looking for this thing to happen, And so, like, and then you walk into a wolf pack of them, and they're swarming around, like feeding, and you're getting throws out to them, and then they're to your right, and you're trying to shuffle around, and if you splash at all, you spook them, And so, like, you're trying to move
Okay.
without splashing. Like they're real sensitive. Now, sometimes you got waves, sometimes you got wind, sometimes it doesn't matter, but I noticed I ran into a wolf pack one time and like didn't even get to throw at them. They just took off, and as I started chasing, I was trying to go faster, and I splashed a little bit and watched them scatter. It was like, oh
Really?
man. But once you find them, you can kind of head their direction on the flats and bump into them again. And when it goes off, like, I saw a couple good days out there where I ran into multiple packs of them, but when it goes off, you just start seeing them cruising everywhere. And so you're out in those flats, like trying to jockey and chasing and then trying to throw your fly in front of them. And, like I caught some smaller fish, and then I caught the one good bone is all I caught. But I wasn't on the good island. I got to fish them every day, and I got to throw at fish. And like, you got to learn like the good spots and the tides, and the learning curve is so steep. And it's, I'm sure if you hire a guide and he takes you to the right spots and points out the fish, you catch a bunch of them. And it's like, I just had to pay my dues a little bit. And ran into tougher conditions the last couple days with the lighting and, not being able to like go all day long, like just going in the mornings and things. But I think if you went to a better island, like it's another $100 flight, and we really had plans. I just couldn't like leave my girls there, and like go take off to another island or take off with my wife and leave my kids or whatever, to go to another island.
Totally.
But I think next time, like there's other islands where it's way better, where there's a bunch more fish out and through there. But I got to taste it and got to taste the experience. And dude, when you get to throw at them, like the one I caught, there was a pack of them and they were tailing right in the mangroves in there, like way in there. And so I was able to slip up and then throw my fly and just crazy. Like I think I threw once, nothing, or I got a bump, like it hit it, and I kept coming in and stripping and nothing, and throw back out there to another one I can see tailing right there and start stripping, and all of a sudden have two that are just chasing it, coming right at me. And like I hooked that thing at maybe 10 feet at most. Like it was stripping right back to me, and it was coming to me, and I was ducking lower in that excitement, and all of a sudden they just two darting for it, one just grabbed it and then took off, and it was just a super killer fight. But yeah, I got to taste it.
Oh man, yeah, I want to taste. That's so sweet. God dang it. No, I was thinking about it. I was getting my butt kicked on the river, and I was wondering how you were doing. So that's pretty sweet. You're starting to get it figured out. That's awesome.
Yeah, getting my butt kicked in the flats, just saying, like same.
I'd rather get my butt kicked in 80-degree weather than 25. God dang.
Yeah. Well, and it's finding the right flies and the right, you get some throws at them and no interest in your fly, and you're like, oh man, I got to change, I finally found that good fly that I really had confidence in. But just paying my dues out there. But yeah, it'd be so sick to like go to that Andros, or there's a bunch of good islands out there, and it's really remote. And like, dude, I think like a couple guys like me and you, I think you can find hotels for pretty cheap out there. Like, I don't know what you could find them for, definitely do a house and bring the girls or whatever. But, guys like me and you could probably do a lot of camping out and only stay selective nights and just wear ourselves ragged walking those flats looking for those things. It'd be super sick. And I like those flats, like, it's, maybe could have taken got guided and picked up some knowledge and then, use that knowledge towards going more. But I really like that you can do it self-guided and do it on the cheap and like go try to figure out those flats and figure out how it works. And you may catch less, but it's way more rewarding, when you're dialing it in and learning it. And so yeah, I think it's super cool when you can do that. Like those flats boats are great, but you rack up quite a bit of money trying to go out on those flats boats. And I especially like some of these flats where you can fish for GTs, like giant trevallies. And my buddy Eric like went and did it like on Christmas Island, where he'd fish for bones, and then he got a taste of those GTs, and he didn't want, like, he could care less about the bones. He was just looking for those GTs out there. But there's some spots where you can wade around on flats and look for those GTs that'll go up to 100 pounds and fight so hard, so that would be super cool too, is to try to figure out a spot where you could run into those. But yeah, for me, like that bone fishing and a few bonus tarpon and barracuda, like I saw a barracuda while I was snorkeling. That was the only one I saw with the girls. But yeah, you snorkel around, look at fish, and girls have a blast on the beach and soaking in some sunshine, especially when you're from Montana.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. Do you think, say totally doing it yourself, do you think like one of those really stiff stand-up paddle boards would be beneficial at all, or would it be a waste?
That's a good idea.
Like,
yeah, I think those, or even like a little kayak, but just to, I don't know. It might be, dude. Fishing off one of those paddle boards that you could stand up, you could get the leverage in the water, like the perspective into the water, and really see them. And then you might spook some from the boat, but you from the paddle board, but you spook some standing there. You'd be able to cast far. You'd be able to cover way more water than walking. Like, I don't see many guys run that angle or do it that way. But yeah, dude, I think you're right. Like that could be a game changer.
Well, like what I was thinking is like, just even if it was for just like spotting purposes, like if you had one of those and your buddy's like I'm on the back, you're standing up, and I'm holding it just to give stability, I mean, it's kind of a funny picture when you think about it, but it's like, I don't know. I was just thinking about, because you know how those guys, I've seen on videos how the guides like will pull through the flats, you know,
Yes.
and they're super elevated, and it's like, I mean, granted we wouldn't be that high, but it's like, gosh, I mean, yeah, I don't know, just something kind of came to mind. I didn't know if it would be beneficial or not.
Probably. Yeah, that pulling through the flats on those boats, man, that's the way to go. Like that's what I did in Key West, and just paid the money for a guide and went and experienced it, so I could throw at tarpon and throw at barracuda and throw at all those fish. And yeah, dude, it's so sick. You've got such a good perspective in the water, and then he's got an elevated position and you've got an elevated position in the front of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then you just kind of roll through these flats, or maybe you're not elevated in the front. Maybe you're just standing. Like some boats have an elevated position, but he's way elevated in the back, and then he just pulls you through these flats. And man, it can be seagrass to like white sands to different depth to big blue holes, and you just spot fish and throw at them, man. It's super sick. So yeah, I really like the flats, and like I think a guy could really do it on the cheap. Flights are the most expensive, but save some points and some miles and be able to burn them up on that thing. I think the flights were, you probably spend like $700 to $900 on the flights, or $600 to $800. I think you could find a place for $100 a night on some of these remote places that you could stay. So wrap up another bit in there, and you got food, and there's other expenses for sure, like anytime you're traveling abroad, you're spending some money, but a couple $1,000, $2,500, I think you could chase those things.
Sounds like if it's cold in February, you might have to run it back.
Gosh, right? Especially like me and you, like we work in the summertime, and so like a lot of times we get free time in the winter, and I'm super busy right now, but it's like a lot of times we get time in the winter where we can go, and it's just like work hard in the summer, work an extra weekend or two, and save some money, or and then just plan to go down there for a couple weeks and just bum around. Like we'll just bring our tents and sleep here, and then grab a hotel room, catch a shower, do some laundry or whatever, and just keep fishing those flats on some of those remote stretches. But dude, it's an experience. It's out of the country, and it's driving on the wrong side of the road. It was like that was the sketchiest part of the whole deal, dude. Like there's 250,000 people on this island, and you drive on the wrong side of the road. And I've done it in New Zealand before, and dude, you just drive around going keep left, and then there's roundabouts. You got to go around the left side. You got, a free left turn, but right turn, you got to turn around into the far lane. Like, dude, and the drivers there are just gnarly, like passing, driving fast. There's no law, there's a speed limit, but nobody follows it. Like, everybody just flies around, and there's so many people that there's not enough time to wait for your turn. You just got to start pulling out, have people stop for you and slow down. Like, you're turning out and trying to make a right or whatever, and you got to cross a lane of traffic. If you sit there and wait, you'll never get out. You got to just start going when you see a window, or when you see somebody's hesitating or is going to slow down, and you just go. Like, people wait for you in the other lane. Like, it is the gnarliest driving on the left-hand side. I just drive around like nobody can talk to me. I've got to completely focus, stay on the left. Just try not to, like kill everybody in the car or whatever. But it's pretty gnarly to get used to.
Yeah, I've never had to drive on the left side yet. That sounds brutal.
It messes with your brain. You think it'd be easy, but it's just not. It's like so tough to switch over to the other side of the road.
I bet. No, I bet.
Yeah.
But no, you probably pretty cold over there in Ennis right now, huh?
Yeah, it's a bit frigid over here. What about you? You've been fishing, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I went and tried to hit some tailwaters, and like last week, it just started getting cold. And so on these tailwaters, all summer that grass just grows and grows and grows, at least in these ones over on this side of the state. And when it starts to get cold and that water temp starts to drop, that grass starts to break free. And I knew it going into it, but it was kind of one of those deals where I was just kind of hoping for the best. Well, turns out, of course, I hit it right as it's starting to break loose on the first day. And this was on the bighorn. And the fish weren't on reds yet. I called down today, and the grass is still floating, but the fish are on them now. But they weren't on them. But every time I could get a cast, land a cast, and not bring back grass with me, it was good fishing. Like, caught some nice fish. Caught a nice rainbow too. But then, yeah, it gets tough. It's like tried nymphing a little bit, same issue. You got grass floating, grass down. So it's like I called and they said here in about a week, the lake turned over and everything. So here in about a week, it'll be cleared up. And it should be good, but, went fishing other tailwater a couple days later and, same thing. And it was bad. Like it was pretty wild. It went from a little more milky green than it should be. And I was with Trev and I was like, dude, you better hop up in the front and fish. Something seems a little off. And so we fished about 1.5 miles and he caught a few fish and we didn't get down around that bend. It was about 10 o'clock, 10:30. And oh, dude, more grass, weeds. Oh, it turned to chocolate milk. It was brutal. So brutal.
Man, those conditions can just kill a day, can't they?
They can.
Man, I haven't dealt with a lot of that grass like I have. I remember it over on the Horn before, but gosh dang it, like I forget. Like when you can't get through the grass, you just can't get a drift. Like it's tough to catch them.
It is, and it's one of those deals where I knew better. It goes back to us always talking about, looking back through old photos or keeping a timeline on when things are good and when things aren't. But gosh, sometimes you just get the itch so bad, you just got to go out there and try and go get it. But no, it sucks when it's like that. I mean, there weren't very many dudes on the water those 2 days. So at least everybody else had their head on straight, but it'll be good here in probably, a week. They're thinking about a week, and that's kind of what I thought too. But gosh, it's supposed to be absolutely freezing around here in, 7 to 10 days. I mean, talking like single digit highs and whatnot. So gonna have to get creative or just wait till it warms up a little bit. But we've got a little weather window tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Obviously Friday's Christmas Eve, but gosh, I just want to get out so bad. But I'm going to go tomorrow, just do a solo mission, and I'm going to take the raft. I brought home a little 4-wheeler, so I'm going to run my own shuttle with that, test it out, just do a little test run. But I tied up, you inspired me a little bit. I tied up some, kind of like some little leech patterns, that I'm going to try and nymph under obviously an indicator in some of these runs before I swing it and see how it goes. So I'm gonna start testing the theory early.
Yes, I like it, dude. You've been getting after it.
Yeah.
Good, dude. Yeah, I'm so sick to fish now. Like I'm just ready. It's our season, like the winter and the spring and early summer. Like I'm ready to get after it. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, they look like great bugs you were tying up. And dude, that sculpin pattern you tied, that little single hook green and white one, man, that thing looked dirty.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I kind of saw a pattern I liked on Instagram. I always follow these guys who have pretty cool ties, and I saw one that was similar to that, and I was just like, I could do a few things that I really like. But yeah, I'm excited to fish that. I'm definitely going to fish that tomorrow. I'll probably be the weirdo standing on the front platform with my oars across the tubes and just standing there fishing out the front to test that thing out of the boat. But yeah, it'll be cool. It's got a little sparkle minnow in it. It's got a little slump buster, got a little sex dungeon, but it's on that single hook, so a little bit smaller, but it should have really good action. It'll be fun. I'm excited to try it out, but more than anything, I'm really excited to nymph those balance leech type deals. I've never really tied any of that sort of stuff to, cause it's like usually when we get out, we either straight nymph it or we swing it, and like we talked about last time, it's like, gosh, yes, we'll still probably swing because like on this system that I'm going to fish, there's a lot of big rainbows in it. And for some reason, over the last probably 8 years, I don't catch a lot of them off the strip. But I do catch a few off the swing, but I've never really spent any time, nymphing it. And so, I mean, what better than an egg sucking leech under an indicator to catch a big rainbow,
Oh, dude, you're going to kill it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. But no, yeah, other than that, haven't been out a whole lot, but I sure will here soon. Gosh, we got to get together and get something lined up. I know this week's Christmas and whatnot, and you just got back, but gosh, we just got to get out.
Yeah, we got to see what the roads look like. Maybe be able to get out here for a
Yeah.
day or two, make it back for Christmas. So yeah, we'll go see what we can do. Especially the weather window in the wintertime. Dude, you got to go when it's the right temperature and the right weather because it may shut you out for 2 weeks when it gets super cold like that, and you're just stuck at the house tying bugs, wanting to be fishing. So it's
Yep.
that time of year for us out west where we just got to wait, and then it'll get warm for a week or two and be above freezing, and those fish can eat it and we can fish it, and so definitely got to look for those windows, especially with a bunch of that cold weather coming in. Like, we knew winter was going to eventually show up here in Montana.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate, and gosh, the last few years, at least on this side of the state, we've been, never really had winter, so it's about time one rolled through. But no, that's kind of one of those deals too. It's like this is a good time to look around too at surrounding areas and whatnot, and just because it's cold here or over in your side, maybe a little south, a little north, you never know. So it's like I like to keep my options open and just look for. Gosh, all you need is just a couple days in the 40s on some systems, and you'll be in it. So it'll be fun, but just got to keep our eyes peeled and be willing to jump in the pickup and roll if the roads are good. But
yeah, how are you going to run your shuttle? You got your raft on the trailer and then your 4-wheeler in the back of your truck?
Yep. And then I'm gonna go to. I've got a takeout that a guy lets me take out, so I'll unhook the raft trailer, set that down, back the 4-wheeler out, set it there, hook back up, drive up, and rock and roll. So it'll be fun. It kind of, gosh, it's been so cold and everything's been so locked up that who knows how it'll be, but you don't know unless you go. So
they might just want to eat.
Dude, that's what I'm thinking. Gosh, looking back through all my old pics, it's like right now, it's been, the last handful of years right now has been the best time. Like, and, post spawn stuff, all that. And it's just a good time to go out and give it a test. You never know. And there's going to be no one out, so it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And going to be Baja, the new little old, the 4-wheeler, she's no gem. She's been redone. I got it for $1,000, but it's like, it's a tool, so it'd be Baja that thing through the ditch. It'd be fun.
God, good for you. That's going to be a good rig for all the stuff you like to do, really.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Gosh, and it's like for that low barrier of entry, $1,000, it's like, golly, that thing better hold on to its hat because it's gonna do some shit.
God, I know. I had one that I got for $800 and I sold it. Got my house done and just like no room in my garage, and like I just like sold it on the cheap. I was like, man, I don't use this thing much anymore. It was the stupidest move.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice to have tools like that because it's like, don't get me wrong, I'll buy a shuttle all the time, but it's like, gosh, if I can do something like this and just be totally self-sufficient out there, it's like, might as well,
Yeah.
And there's some places that it's like I might want to 4-wheel up in the early summer or something and start getting into some lake stuff or whatever, and just good to have, I suppose. So no, it'll be fun. Tonight's my Christmas Eve before Christmas Eve, it's like going to my one of my favorite stretches of river, and it's like, golly, I just can't wait. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna be thinking about 2-foot browns all night.
Good for you. Yeah, you found them in there before. It's like a good time of year to get them. And I really think what you were talking about, God, is I've had good reception the whole time, and it broke up like a little bit when you were talking about nymphing with that setup. I'm trying out Elon's new satellite or whatever, and I think I got to move the with the router like a little bit close or something. But yeah, like that nymphing setup behind that indicator and those big runs right now where you can touch the bottom and bounce it and like really work those runs, and especially like with big fish candy on there, like, man,
Yeah.
I love the nymph, and I think like nymphing that the sculpin up front and something in the back, like I might be surprised with what you come up with.
I agree. And to be honest, I'm really excited because, even when it's going to be, say, mid 40s tomorrow, it was still in the 20s the whole week prior, So we've had today was mid 40s. Tomorrow should be half decent. But those fish will be in that back end, in that wintertime water, like we always talk about, in the tail out. And so it's going to be really easy. It's going to be a total depth thing, I think, and getting it in front of them, obviously, but to find where they are. And in that slower water, I'm gonna find the bottom and just work my way up. And it might take 20, 25, 30 casts to find a fish, or may not, but it'll be fun to just totally grit it out, with that big fish candy. I think I'm gonna run. I don't know what I'm gonna run actually. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna run that leech up front, and then I'm gonna run a big, like a size 12, like Montana Prince in the back, like a bigger nymph in the back, and just kind of grid my way through some of that stuff. And then what I'm really excited for when I do these, I'll go by myself. It's always kind of nice, and it's fun, like when there's two guys too, but it's like you can nymph it through, then you can swing it through. The only downfall when it's just me, it's like it's hard to fish it out of the boat, like on the third pass through. So I'm excited to do that, but yeah, I'm definitely going to work the whole runs with that nymph setup and just change depth the whole way through. Obviously try and find the bottom, but yeah, from my experience in this system on those runs, when you find one, you find them. Like, they usually aren't sporadic. It's more so you find one fish and you're going to find 5 fish. And it's kind of weird. They're not really, there's only so much water in it. And, yeah, when they're there, they're there. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but really excited to nymph it. It's one of those deals that I just haven't really taken the time to do on this river, or on any river. But it's like when you brought that up to me a couple weeks ago about nymphing these big sculpins or leeches, it made a lot of sense. And yeah, I'm excited to try it.
Oh, you're gonna get them tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, it's a great way to fish.
Drive on over.
I will be the next day. Yeah, it's such a good way to cover that water, and like you say, changing up your depth. So you're probably gonna, like you pick kind of a leader length, and then you can change the depth it fishes by changing the length of that leader or by changing the weight. And so tomorrow you'll probably pick like a medium, like a length leader, like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 feet, I would guess, to your weight, maybe even 7 feet to your weight, and then you're just going to fine tune your weight to where you're at in the run. So in the heavier stuff up in the head of the run, when you start working that, you're going to be definitely heavier weight there, and then as you get to those tail outs and it's moving really slow, you'll probably be down to like a BB or something like that, I would imagine. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to run. Yeah. Totally. And the one thing that I like to do too is I like those indicators that have that screw top where you can screw it down, up and down, so it doesn't kink your line. I went and bought some of those, and so I'm going to do a lot of adjusting with the indicator itself too. So
that's smart.
Yeah, and so because some of those, like some of the A spots on this deal, you've got to get down like at a snap of a finger. It might not be very deep, because it's like, and it might not be very quick, but it's like there's one bucket. And it's like, if you cast too high up in front of it, you're going to drag, you can't get into it. You're going to hit clink bottom all the way, hook up. And if you throw it right on it with not enough weight, you're not in the zone. So it's like, you've got to throw it right at the transition to get down. And so it's like, you got to be heavy. And then it's like a really short drift, it's like a 6-7 foot drift is all, which is a lot of fun, but you just got to be fine tuned with it. So I like being able to use that indicator, slide that up and down and keep on, like you said, when you're in the head of the run, have that heavier weight. But then when I get to the tail, maybe I'll and I could change it to a smaller BB too, but keep that same weight on there, but just choke it down, choke your indicator down so that you're not dragging bottom right off the bat. It's like that split shot and all that weight can only get down, say, 3 feet. And then your bug, that leech is going to have a little weight to it. And so it's going to be right in the bucket. So, but yeah, it'll be some trial and error, but yeah, totally. That's exactly how I'm going to go about it.
Smart, that sliding indicator. It's so tough to move that indicator or retie it on, but yeah, like you were saying, the screw top ones where you can move it and not kink your line allows you to change that depth instantly. You don't even got to change or add weight. You can just move that thing up or down that line to lengthen or shorten your leader depending on where you're at and how that thing's fishing. So, man, I think it's super smart. I can't wait to see what you turn up.
Yeah, no, right on. Oh, one other thing, I got us a Christmas present. I got us the so we don't have any more broken rods. I've been saying for 2 years now we need to get one of those double rod tubes. They look like a big shotgun where you just break your rod in half, slide it in, and you're good to go. Finally got us one, so we're not gonna have any more broken rods. So we can
Oh,
have
nice work, dude.
We can have all the rods we want rigged up, slide them down those tubes, and we don't have to worry about anybody falling on them. So we'll be golden.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
We'll be set up.
Yeah.
Well, sounds
Yeah.
good, man. Go out and get them tomorrow, and yeah, I'll check in with you and see how it is, see if I can make it down there. I want to get out for sure. I'm sick to fish.
Cool. Yeah, I will give you the full report. Hopefully it's good and you're heading this way. So.
Yeah. What did you see for snowstorm like Thursday? Is there snow coming in?
For this coming Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says 50% now.
Yeah. I wonder what the temp's going to be or how the drive's going to be, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just have to play it by ear. Gosh, things change at the drop of a hat now this time of year, so it's like, yeah. But over around Livingston has been nasty. The road's been closed some days. It's been brutal.
Oh, yeah. That thing's a nightmare in the wintertime. Oh, my gosh. Dude, I drove home in the canyon the other night. My mother-in-law told me it was 99 miles per hour, but it was 99 kilometers an hour. But still, dude, it felt like 99 miles an hour. Dude, driving through that canyon in my wife's car, I had never had that wind blow me around like it did the other night coming through there. They had to be 60-mile-an-hour winds coming through there, which, 99, the math works out, but 60-mile-an-hour gusts coming through that thing, just gnarly. And anytime you're on that snow or ice, that wind can blow you sideways on that stuff.
Yeah.
God, it makes me think like studs on a truck wouldn't be like I never get studs. I always drive all terrains. They get good mileage, good in the mountains, and then snow and ice, you just learn how to drive in it and you're just good, It's like even in bad conditions. But some of those days, like that day I came home from your neck of the woods after muley hunting, that highway that day it was just a sheet of ice. So you're like, some of that stuff you hit is so slick where it's like you'd almost give anything to have some studs on your tires just to grip that slick shit. And that black ice too, you can't see it coming, and all of a sudden it'll be just glossed over the highway or whatever. So for some instances it would be nice to have those studs.
Yeah, big time. And I was just telling my wife this the other day because her parents were out here and they had to go home, and they left in that snowstorm we had just a few days ago. And it's like, I am not one to give advice when driving on nasty roads because it's like I'm not a big fan of them, period. It's like I'll drive them in the middle of the day when the sun's up and I can see everything. But it's like if I got to be driving nasty roads and in dawn or dusk, it's like, yeah, that shit ain't for me. Like, yeah, studs would be legit, or some of those low profile. They're not even chains. The ones I'm talking. They sell them at like I don't know. My father-in-law had some that's like Les Schwab. They're real thin, but anyways, yeah, it's like. No, yeah, studs would be legit because I'm not a fan of packed snow, ice, black ice, any of that stuff. But
what about
sometimes
where we were mule deer hunting where I slid off the road? Man, that stuff was so gnarly.
Oh my god!
I almost lost my truck to the abyss.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, no, that the things you do for a few fish and to chase a few mule deer, it's like yeah, people think guy's crazy, but. Yeah, studs, chains, something, but I mean, avoid it at all costs. But sometimes you just got to send it.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you do. Sometimes there's big fish out there, and you got to get there to go do it. And it's wintertime in Montana, like 7-8 months out of the year, and so you never know when you're gonna hit one of those storms. And yeah, like a lot of times we're weekend warriors and working all week, and it's like you got a weekend in 2 days. What do you think I'm gonna do? Like I'm gonna go for it, And like you just make the choice that you're gonna drive through it. And I've always been able to keep myself safe, but man, you get in some sketchy conditions. That one time coming home that I talked about that I think was last year from coming back from your neck of the woods. Like, I think from your house to mine is about 3 hours.
Yep.
I can't remember what we took. It was something crazy, like 7, 8
US
hours to get
97,
home.
yeah.
7 hours I think is what it was. It took me to get home. Just driving so slow, and those semis just going so fast on that stuff. And yeah, if you had studs on your tires, you'd just be grippy in that ice. It'd just be really nice. I
Yeah.
don't know. I may have to do that one of these years. I'm turning into an old guy that gets studs on his tires.
Yeah. Well, you're in good hands though. That your Tundra has seen some shit. Like that thing there's no vehicle on the road that's seen as much as that thing, so she'll keep you safe.
Yeah, she sure will.
Cool, man.
Well, dude, always fun to talk with you. It was great to be able to tell you about those flats, and super excited to be getting after these browns. I saw that picture of that solid brown I caught late summer again. God, what a stud of a fish. Need to find another one like that or bigger.
Let's do it. I'll send you some pics that'll make you drive on any road after tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be on my way. So thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you bet. Later.